Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Avadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtike. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 4, Gajendra returns to the spiritual world. Text 11 onwards. Shri Shukvacha evam shaptva gato agastyo bhagwan rip sanugaha indradyumno api rajarshir dishtam tad upadharayan apanna konjarim yonim atmasmriti vinashinim Haryarchana anubhavena yadgajyatve api anusmritihi. Shukdev Goswami continued, My dear king, after Agastya Muni had thus cursed King Indradyumna, the Muni left that place along with his disciples. Since the king was a devotee, he accepted Agastya Muni's curse as welcome because it was the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, although in his next life he got the body of an elephant because of devotional service, he remembered how to worship and offer prayers to the Lord. So as we studied yesterday, that King Agastya came to that ashram where King Indradyumna was sitting and doing his meditation. And Maharaj Indradyumna didn't realize King Agastya had come with his disciples. So Agastya Muni got offended that King Indradyumna didn't receive him well or at all. So he cursed him that you are so dull, you just take birth as an elephant. But although he got the body of an elephant, he was a king, Gajendra, king among the elephants, and he remembered the devotion service. So devotion service is never lost. No matter how much we have done, it is never, ever lost. So that is the beauty. This is the unique position of a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although the king was cursed, he welcomed the curse because a devotee is always aware that nothing can happen without the desire of the Supreme Lord. Although the king was not at fault, Agastya Muni cursed him, and when this happened, the king considered it to be due to his past misdeeds. Tatyana kampam susamikshemana. This is a practical example of how a devotee thinks. He regards any reverses in life as blessings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, instead of being agitated by such reverses, he continues his activities of devotional service. And Krishna takes care of him and enables him to be promoted to the spiritual world back to Godhead. If a devotee has to suffer the reactions of his past misdeeds, the Supreme Lord arranges for him to be given only a token of these reactions. And very soon he is freed from all the reactions of material contamination. One should therefore adhere to devotional service, and the Lord himself will very soon see to one's promotion to the spiritual world. A devotee should not be disturbed by unfortunate circumstances, but must continue his regular program depending on the Lord for everything. The word upadharayan, considering, is very significant in this verse. The word indicates that a devotee knows what is what. He understands what is happening in material, conditional life. So this is first the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam. Devotional service is established, it's emphasized everywhere in Bhagavatam, because this is a topmost. So again and again, Prabhupada coming back to the same theme, Tatya Anukampa. I don't know how many times he has quoted this verse in this chapter, because it's such an important verse for a devotee to remember. So seemingly, some unfortunate, uncalled for reverses happen in the life of a devotee, material reverses, because there is nothing spiritual reverse, spiritual wrongs or whatever. It just, he should not, of course, we are not at that level. So we get agitated, we get um, depressed, we get an anxiety, we are worried. But if we read Prabhupada's purports, then we understand nothing to worry about, nothing at all. It's just Krishna's way of purifying us. Of course, it doesn't mean that we should be the cause of anxiety for anybody else, saying, oh, this is how Krishna is purifying you, Prabhu, Mataji. This is for your purification. No, that's not the point here. If somehow or other a devotee has to suffer, or we see a devotee, or we have to suffer, not a devotee, just talk about us. If we have to suffer for something, whether it's financial, physical, relationships, or anywhere else, just consider, we should consider, oh, it's Krishna's mercy only. He's removing my karmas. As Prabhupada says, Supreme Lord arranges for him to be given only a token of these reactions. So actually I was supposed to suffer more, but Krishna's mercy is, he's just given me just a token. And Krishna does reduce the karmas. Just imagine if we had to suffer the whole thing, then how bad it would be. But Krishna is so merciful. He just gave me a little token, and I should not get any anxiety or worry or fear, or just surrender, just depend upon Krishna, continue, carry on with my devotion service with more devotion, more determination, more sincerity. Then Krishna will arrange, and he does arrange. Prabhupada, Krishna takes care of him and enables him to be promoted to the spiritual world, back to Godhead. He does take care of every single devotee. He took care of Gajendra, who was in the body of an elephant. He came running on or flying on Garuda when Gajendra called for him. And if we also call for him with that kind of sincerity, with that kind of passion, surrender, that kind of faith, won't he come? This is what Bhagavatam is all about. And a devotee, he just says, everything is my fault, and he just accepts and keeps going, keep going. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. This is what Bhagavatam says. Doesn't matter if anybody else says, no, Prabhu, you, or sometimes people make fun of devotees. Sometimes people will try to guide them in a wrong way. Oh, you should take revenge. You should avenge whatever this guy did to you, that guy did to you, or this devotee did to you, that devotee did. No. Just like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is mentioned Mahaprabhu would have his kirtan, whole night kirtan at the house of Srivas Thakur. And it so happened, and Mahaprabhu would not allow anybody or everybody inside the house. Only devotees, and few devotees only could enter when Mahaprabhu was dancing and chanting in ecstasy. So obviously, many people became envious in Navadvip. Now somebody can say, how can in Navadvip, which is non-different from spiritual world, people became envious? Well, people can. It happens in Vrindavan also, and it happened in Navadvip as well. Jagannath Puri, it also happens. So some people became envious. So one night, there was a Brahman, Chapal Gopal, neighbor of Srinivas Thakur. What he did, he kept the items that they used to worship Durga. So he made a packet of it. He kept at the door of Srinivas Thakur. So in the morning when Srinivas Thakur opened the door and he saw all these items, and he understood that somebody is trying to defame me. So this has been going on since then, or maybe before. People try to defame you if they are envious of you. So Srinivas Thakur, he did not just try to find out who did and this or that, or give his clarification. He just loudly shouted to, and he made everybody, all the neighbors come, and he said, yes, this is the truth. I'm actually a hypocrite. I'm actually a worshipper of Durga, and I just show off that I'm a devotee of Krishna and this and that. And I do worship, and I have all these items of the worship of Durga. So all the neighbors came. They said, no, somebody has played this mischief on you. You're not. You're a Vaishnava. And the matter ended there. But it did not end with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he found out Chapal Gopal had done that. So Mahaprabhu didn't have to say anything. Chapal Gopal, he developed leprosy. Of course, now at the same time, we should understand this is not a devotee wants. He doesn't want anybody to suffer. But Chapal Gopal developed leprosy all over his body. And then leprosy means he was kicked out of the village. So he was living outside the village in a very, very miserable condition. First of all, leprosy. Then he is outcast and hardly find anything to eat. And and here Mahaprabhu, he finished his Sankirtan pastimes, he took sannyas, and then he went to Jagannath Puri, went to South India Yatra, and then when he came back to Jagannath Puri, then 1 year he wanted to visit Navadvip. So all these years, Chapal Gopal was suffering. And when he came back, Chapal Gopal went and fell down at his lotus feet and he begged for forgiveness. And Mahaprabhu said, no, you go to the person you have offended, then you will be forgiven. And when he went to Srinivas Thakur said, I didn't even know you were suffering or you were. Yes, I forgive you. There's nothing in my heart. So this is the heart of it. I don't know, probably I don't remember, or maybe it's not mentioned whether Chapal Gopal got cured right away or what happened to him. I don't remember. But regardless, point is, Srinivas Thakur did not try to take revenge. So they just say, okay, yeah, it's my misdeeds. And just like here, King Indradam didn't try to take revenge from Agastya Rishi. He just accepted the curse. Maharaj Chitraketu accepted the curse of Parvati and he became Vritrasura. Evam vimoksha gajayutapa abjav nabhas tenapi parshad gatim gamitena yukta gandharva siddha vibudhair upagiyamana karamadbhutam swabhavanam garudasano agat. Upon delivering the king of the elephants from the clutches of the crocodile and from material existence, which resembles a crocodile, the Lord awarded him the status of Sarupya Mukti. In the presence of the Gandharvas, the Siddhas, and the other demigods who were praising the Lord for his wonderful transcendental activities, the Lord, sitting on the back of his carrier, Garuda, returned to his all wonderful abode and took Gajendra with him. See, so much mercy he got. Yes, he had to suffer for 1,000 years with his leg in the mouth of that crocodile. But it's a very small price to pay to get completely delivered, to go back to Godhead. In this verse, the words vimoksha is significant. For a devotee, moksha or mukti, salvation, means get in the position of the Lord's associate. The impulseless are satisfied to get the liberation of merging in Brahman effulgence. But for a devotee, mukti, liberation, means not to merge in the effulgence of the Lord, but to be directly promoted to the Vaikuntha planets and to become an associate of the Lord. In this regard, there is a relevant verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. Again, Tatte Anukambam Samikshamanu. I think everybody should memorize this verse. One who seeks your compassion and thus tolerates all kinds of adverse conditions due to karma of his past deeds, who engages always in your devotional service with his mind, words, and body, and who always offers obeisances unto you, is certainly a bona fide candidate for liberation. A devotee who tolerates everything in this material world and patiently executes his devotional service can become Muktipade Sadavdayabha, a bona fide candidate for liberation. The word Dayabhag refers to a hereditary right to the Lord's mercy. A devotee must simply engage in devotional service, not caring about material situations. Then he automatically becomes a rightful candidate for promotion to Vaikuntha Loka. The devotee who renders unalloyed service to the Lord gets the right to be promoted to Vaikuntha Loka, just as a son inherits the property of his father. So this becomes his hereditary right. Hereditary right means he doesn't have to claim. He doesn't have to put any papers anywhere. Son has a hereditary right on the property of his father if the son is okay, if he is not doing any illegal activities. So this is just his right. It means his birthright. Yes, it is mine. Why? Because for a devotee who tolerates all kinds of adverse conditions and still engages in devotional service with mind, words, and body. Hrid Vag Vapurabhir. And he still keeps on serving. Then his liberation is guaranteed. When a devotee gets liberation, he becomes free from material contamination and engages as a servant of the Lord. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. The word Swarupa refers to Sarupya Mukti, going back home, back to Godhead, and remaining the Lord's eternal associate, having regained a spiritual body exactly resembling that of the Lord, with 4 hands, holding Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma. The difference between the mukti of the impulseless and that of the devotee is that the devotee is immediately appointed an eternal servant of the Lord, whereas the impulselist, although merging in the effulgence of the Brahmjyoti, is still insecure and therefore generally falls again to this material world. Aruya Kricharana Padam Padam Tada. Although the impulseless rises to the Brahman effulgence and enters into that effulgence, he has no engagement in the service of the Lord, and therefore he is again attracted to materialistic, philanthropic activities. Thus he comes down to open hospitals and educational institutions, feed poor men, and perform similar materialistic activities, which the impulseless thinks are more precious than serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The impulselists do not think that the service of the Lord is more valuable than serving the poor man or starting a school or hospital. Although they say Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, Brahman is real and the material world is false, they are nonetheless very eager to serve the false material world and neglect the service of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prabhupada is telling us about the difference between the mukti of an impersonalist or nirakarvadi, shunyavadi, and that of a devotee. For a devotee, mukti means he goes back to the spiritual world, engages in the service of the Lord. But nirakarvadi or brahmavadi, mayavadi, they just go to Brahman effulgence because they don't believe in the form of the Lord. So they just go to Brahman effulgence, Brahm Jyoti. And from there, because there is no service, they fall down again. Fall down again to the material world. And when they fall down, what they do, Prabhupada says, they just try to serve the humanity instead of serving the Supreme Lord. See, serving humanity is not wrong, but in what way we are serving? They are being part and parcel of the Lord, and we serving them so that they can be engaged in the service of the Lord? Or we serve the humanity in the sense Daridra Narayan. See, service is always there, but with what consciousness? That's up to us. Etan Maharaj Taverito Maya Krishnanubhavo Gajaraj Mokshanam Swargyam Yashasyam Kali Kalmashapaham Duh Swapna Nasham Kuruvarya Shranvatam. My dear King Parikshit, I have now described the wonderful power of Krishna as displayed when the Lord delivered the king of the elephants. O best of the Kuru dynasty, those who hear this narration become fit to be promoted to the higher planetary systems. Simply because of hearing this narration, they gain a reputation as devotees. They are unaffected by the contamination of Kali Yuga and they never see bad dreams. So just by hearing, what is the Shrutifal? Gain a reputation as devotees. Wow. So if somebody's reputation is jeopardized as a devotee, you gain the reputation unaffected by the contamination of Kali Yuga. Means no more Kali Yuga means disturbed all the time. You won't be disturbed. And they never see bad dreams. Bad dreams of whether we took the form of an animal or somebody is trying to kill us in the dreams. We see all sorts of nonsense dreams. So never. So it's wonderful, Shrutifal. Yathanu kirtayanti yetya shreyas kama dvijataya shuchaya prataruthaya duhswapnad upshantaya. Therefore, after getting up from bed in the morning, those who desire their own welfare, especially the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, in particular Brahman Vaishnavas, should chant this narration as it is, without deviation, to counteract the troubles of bad dreams. Wow. So just take a printout and we should narrate every day. Well, better chant Hare Krishna every morning. But there's so much of Shrutifal just by hearing and chanting this narration. Nothing else we have to do. So sometimes people, when they follow some karma kanda ritual, so Panditji says, okay, you chant this mantra for whatever 21 days, and then you have to do a yagya, and then you burn this paper or do whatever. No, Bhagavatam, just hear and chant. That's it. Nothing else. Every verse in the Vedic literature, especially in Srimad Bhagavat and Bhagavad Gita, is a Vedic mantra. Here the words yathanu kirtayanti are used to recommend that this literature be presented as it is. Yatha, as it is, anu kirtayanti, in following the disciplic succession. Unscrupulous persons, however, deviate from the actual narration and interpret the text in their own way with grammatical jugglery. Such deviations are to be avoided. This is a Vedic injunction supported by Shukdev Goswami, one of the Mahajans or authorities. He says, Yatha anu kirtayanti. One should recite the mantra as it is without deviation, for then one will be eligible to rise to the platform of all good fortune. Shukdev Goswami especially recommends that those who are Brahmins, Shuchyas, recite all these mantras after arising from bed in the morning. Because of sinful activities at night, we have bad dreams which are very troublesome. Indeed, Maharaj Yudhishthir was obliged to see hell because of a slight deviation from the devotional service to the Lord. So do you know what was his slight deviation? So his deviation was when Krishna asked him in the battle of Mahabharata to tell a lie to Dronacharya that Ashwatthama got killed. And Yudhishthira Maharaj hesitated that how can I tell a lie? But when Krishna says, you say whatever lie or super lie or whatever, you just do it. So he did not go to hell for telling the lie, because telling the lie was the order from Krishna. He went to hell just for a one moment only, not for too long, because he hesitated to tell the lie. And his going to hell was also orchestrated by Krishna, so that people who are suffering in the hell, if they take darshan of such a pure devotee, they'll all get benefited. That was the reason he went to hell. But anyway, therefore, those swapna, bad dreams, occur because of sinful activities. A devotee sometimes accepts a sinful person as his disciple. And to counteract the sinful reactions he accepts from the disciple, he has to see a bad dream. Nonetheless, the spiritual master is so kind that in spite of having bad dreams, due to the sinful disciple, he accepts this troublesome business for the deliverance of the victims of Kali Yuga. After initiation, therefore, a disciple should be extremely careful not to commit again any sinful act that might cause difficulties for himself and the spiritual master. Before the deity, before the fire, before the spiritual master, and before the Vaishnavas, the honest disciple promises to refrain from all sinful activity. Therefore, he must not commit again sinful acts and thus create a troublesome situation. So sinful activities, because of that, we sometimes have bad dreams. And also, bad dreams sometimes we see in a dream that we are committing some sinful activity, something, whatever. So for a devotee, this is also somebody told me that if he commits a sinful activity in a dream, means Krishna is removing his karma even there, because in the subtle body is committing, so he doesn't have to do that in the gross body. So sinful, some activity he had to do because of his inclinations or propensities. So Krishna arranges, okay, you just do it in the dream. Don't do it in the gross or physical body. So it is done, gone, it's out of the system, and that's it. So dreams have some meanings, lots of meanings actually. Idam aha hariprito gajendram kuru sattama shanvatam sarvabhutanam sarvabhutamayo vibhu. O best of the Kuru dynasty, the supreme personality of Godhead, the super soul of everyone, being thus pleased to address Gajendra in the presence of everyone there. There means in the Vaikuntha planets. He spoke the following blessings. Wow, there are 7 verses together, so we'll not read the Sanskrit, just go to the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, freed from all sinful reactions are those who rise from bed at the end of the night, means very early morning, early in the morning, and fully concentrate their minds with great attention upon my form. Your form, this lake, this mountain, the caves, the gardens, the cane plants, the bamboo plants, the celestial trees, the residential quarters of me, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, the 3 peaks of Thrikut mountain made of gold, silver, and iron, my very pleasing abode, the ocean of milk, the white island, Shvetadweep, which is always brilliant with spiritual rays, my mark of Shrivatsa, the coast of gem, my Vajanti garland, my club, Komuduki, my Sudarshan disc, and Panchajanya conch shell, my bearer Garuda, the king of the birds, my bed Sheshanag, my expansion of energy, the goddess of fortune, Lord Brahma, Narad Muni, Lord Shiva, Prahlad, my incarnations like Matsya, Kurma, and Varaha, my unlimited all auspicious activities which yield piety to he who hears them. The sun, the moon, fire, the mantra Omkar, the absolute truth, the total material energy, the cows and Brahmins, devotion service, the wives of Som and Kashyap were all daughters of King Daksha. The rivers, Ganges, Saraswati, Nanda, and Yamuna, Kalindi, the elephant, Aravat, Dhruv Maharaj, the 7 rishis, and the pious human beings. So one can remember any of this. Ye mam stuvanti anenanga pratibadhya nishatyaye tesham pranatyaye chaham dadami vipulam gatim. My dear devotee, unto those who rise from bed at the end of night and offer me prayers offered by you, I give an eternal residence in the spiritual world at the end of their lives. So powerful. Gajendra Stuti is considered very, very powerful. Shri Shukavacha, iti adishya rishikesha pradmaya jalajottamam harshayan vibudhani kamaruro vaskhagadipam. Shri Shukdev Goswami continued, after giving this instruction, the Lord, who is known as Rishikesha, bugled with his Panchajanya conch shell, in this way pleasing all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma. Then he mounted the back of his carrier, Garuda. Okay, so this he didn't say in the spiritual world, so he was still here. And that's when he made his statement. So the point is, we all should try to get up early morning and think of the Lord, chant the holy names. And Krishna himself is giving guarantee. I give an eternal residence in the spiritual world at the end of their lives. It's so simple. Krishna has made it. But we are so lazy and we don't have taste for all this, so we don't take up the process seriously. So get up early morning, even if you sleep late. Get up early morning, chant, and then again go back to sleep. No problem. Just we have to develop this habit of getting up early. That's all. So thus ends the 4th chapter. So we still have time. We can start the 5th chapter. The demigods appeal to the Lord for protection. So now comes the few chapters. the story of churning of the ocean, milk ocean. Beautiful, beautiful story. And the Lord takes many, many incarnations in this pastime. And of course, we have read about it, we have heard about the churning of the ocean, but let's see what Bhagavatam says. Next one. Shri Shukuvacha Rajan Uditam etat te hare karmaghanashanam Gajendra mokshanam punyam ravatam tvantaram shrinu. Shukdev Goswami continued, O king, I have described to you the pastime of Gajendra Mokshan, which is most pious to hear. By hearing of such activities of the Lord, one can be freed from all sinful reactions. Now please listen as I describe Ravat Manu. So another Manu, because King Maharaj Parikshit had asked for different Manus. Panchamo Ravato Nama Manustamasa Sodara Bali Vindhya Dayastasya Sutta Arjun Purvakaha. The brother of Tamas Manu was the fifth Manu, named Ravat. His sons were headed by Arjun, Bali, and Vindhya. Of course, this Arjun is different. Vibhurindra Surgana Rajan Bhutarayadaya Hiranya Roma Vedashira Urdhu Bhava Dayo Dvijaha. O king, in the millennium of Ravat Manu, the king of heaven was known as Vibhu. Means Indra was Vibhu. Among the demigods was Bhutarius, and among the 7 Brahmins who occupied the 7 planets were Hiranyaroma, Vedashira, and Urdhva Bahu. Patni Vikuntha Shubhrasya Vaikunthe Surasattamah Tayo Swakalaya Jakya Vaikuntho Bhagwan Swayam. From the combination of Shubhra and his wife Vaikuntha, there appeared the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vaikuntha, along with demigods who were his personal plenary expansions. So different Manvantar, different incarnations. Vaikuntha kalpito yena loko loka namaskritah ramya prarthya manena devya tatpriya kamyaya. Just to please the goddess of fortune, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vaikuntha, at her request, created another Vaikuntha planet, which is worshipped by everyone. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks here that this Vaikuntha planet, like Srimad Bhagavatam, appears and is said to be born or created. But both Srimad Bhagavatam and Vaikuntha eternally exist beyond the material universes, which were enveloped by 8 kinds of coverings, as described in the 2nd canto. Lord Brahma saw Vaikuntha before the creation of the universe. Veeraraghavacharya mentions that this Vaikuntha is within the universe. It is situated above the mountain known as Loka Loka. This planet is worshipped by everyone. So that's what Prabhupada is saying, or Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, you cannot create, you don't create a Vaikuntha planet. It just manifests and unmanifests. The word he used is create, but he just called it. And just like he says, like Srimad Bhagavatam, it's also eternal. It just eternally exists beyond the material universes, and for the benefit of people in general, it is just brought here on pen and paper. Tasyanubhava kathito gunasya paramodaya bhaumana renunsa vimameyo vishnor vanayet guna. Although the great activities and transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's various incarnations are wonderfully described, sometimes we are unable to understand them. Yet everything is possible for Lord Vishnu. If one could count the atoms of the universe, then he could count the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But no one can count the atoms of the universe, nor can anyone count the transcendental qualities of the Lord. Wow. So if if one can count the atoms of the universe, not even the room, not even of this telephone, which is again unlimited number of atoms. This is how, if one can count that atoms of the universe, one can count qualities of the Lord. Ananta, the Lord's glorious activities referred to in this connection took place after his personal bodyguards, Jay and Vijay, became Daityas, having been cursed by the great sages Sanak, Sanatan, Sanatkumar, and Sananda. Jay, as Hiranyaksha, had to fight with Varahadev, and that same Varahadev is mentioned in regard to Revath millennium. The fighting, however, took place during the reign of the first Manu, Swayambhuva. Therefore, according to some authorities, there are two Varahas. According to others, however, Varaha appeared during the regime of Swayambhuva Manu and then stayed in the water until that of Revath Manu. Some may doubt that this could be possible, but the answer is that everything is possible. If one could count the atoms within the universe, one could count the qualities of Lord Vishnu. But the atoms of the universe are impossible for anyone to count. And similarly, no one can count the transcendental qualities of the Lord. So when somebody says, oh, Lord cannot do this, how is it possible? Well, Lord can do anything and everything. What's so difficult for him? Everything he can do. So whether it was same Varahadev or two different Varahadev, everything is possible. We just have to have the faith. Shashtascha Chakshusha Putrash Chakshusho Namvai Manu Puru Purusha Subdimna Pramukhash Chakshushatmajaha. The son of Chakshu, known as Chakshusha, was the sixth Manu. He had many sons headed by Puru, Purush, and Sudyumna. Indro mantra drumas tatra deva apya dayo ganaha manyas tatra vairajan avishma ved virakadayaha. During the reign of Chakshusha Manu, the king of heaven was known as Mantra Druma. Among the demigods were the Apyas, and among the sages were Havishman and Virak. Tatrapi deva sambhutyam vairajyasya bhavat sutaha ajito nam bhagvana anshen jagata pati. In this sixth Manvanta millennium, Lord Vishnu, the master of the universe, appeared in his partial expansion. He was begotten by Vairaj in the womb of his wife, Deva Sambhuti, and his name was Ajita. So much details are given. Payodhim yena nirmatya suranam sadita sudha brahmamano ambasi dhrita kurma rupena mandara. By churning the ocean of milk, Ajita produced nectar for the demigods. In the form of a tortoise, he moved here and there, carrying on his back the great mountain known as Mandar. Text 11. 12. Shri Raja Vacha Yatha Bhagavata Brahman Mathita Kshira Sagara Yadartham Va Yataschadrim Radharambu Charatmana Yatha Amritam Surah Praptam Kim Chanyad Bhavat Tata Etad Bhagavata Karma Vadasva Paramadvatam. King Parikshita inquired, O great Brahman Shukdev Goswami, why and how did Lord Vishnu churn the ocean of milk? For what reason did he stay in the water as a tortoise and hold up Mandar mountain? How did the demigods obtain the nectar, and what other things were produced from the churning of the ocean? Kindly describe all these wonderful activities of the Lord. Tvaya sankatyamanena mahimna satvatam patehe nati tripyati me chittam suchiram taptapitam. My heart, which is disturbed by the three miserable conditions of material life, is yet not satiated with hearing you describe the glorious activities of the Lord. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the master of the devotees. Shri Sutuvacha Samprishto Bhagavanevam Dvapayan Suto Dvijaha Abhinandya Harera Viryam Abhyachashtum Prachakrame. Shri Suta Goswami said, O learned Brahmins assembled here at Naimisharanya, when Shukdev Goswami, the son of Dvapayan, was thus questioned by the king, he congratulated the king and then endeavored to describe further the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shri Shukavacha, Yada Yudhera Surera Deva Badhyamana Shitayudha Tata Savone Patita No Uttishterena Sma Bhurisha Yada Durvasa Shapena Sendra Loka Sreyo Nripa Nishri Kascha Bhavan Satra Neshur Ijya Daya Kriya. Shukdev Goswami said, when the Asuras with their serpent weapons severely attacked the demigods in a fight, many of the demigods fell and lost their lives. Indeed, they could not be revived. At that time, O king, the demigods had been cursed by Durvasa Muni, the three worlds were poverty-stricken, and therefore ritualistic ceremonies could not be performed. The effects of this were very serious. So the demigods were cursed by Durvasa Muni. So something must have happened. Why would he curse the demigods? And Durvasa Muni is an expansion of Lord Shiva, actually. And if he curses, the three worlds were poverty-stricken. So we can only imagine the power of Durvasa Muni. So what had happened was, it is described that while Durvasa Muni was passing on the road, he saw Indra on the back of his elephant and was pleased to offer Indra a garland from his own neck. Indra, however, being too puffed up, took the garland and without respect for Durvasa Muni, he placed it on the trunk of his carrier elephant, Eravat. The elephant, being an animal, could not understand the value of the garland, and thus the elephant threw the garland between its legs and smashed it. Wow, that was big insult for Durvasa Muni. Seeing this insulting behavior, Durvasa Muni immediately cursed Indra to be poverty-stricken, bereft of all material opulence. Thus the demigods, afflicted on one side by the fighting demons and on the other by the curse of Durvasa Muni, lost all the material opulences in three worlds. To be extremely opulent in materialistic advancement is sometimes very risky. A materially opulent person does not care about anyone, and thus he commits offenses to great personalities, such as devotees and great saints. This is a way of material opulence. As described by Shukdev Goswami, Dhana Durmadhanda, Dhana Durmada. Too much wealth makes one blind. This happens even to Indra in his heavenly kingdom. And what to speak of others in this material world? When one is materially opulent, he should learn to be sober and well behaved towards Vaishnavas and saintly persons. Otherwise, he will fall down. See, Indra, earlier we read how he did not respect Brihaspati, his own guru, when he came to his assembly. And then Brihaspati did not curse him, but he just left. He felt insulted, he left. And he also saw how Indra is going to be in trouble now. And Indra was in trouble with Ali Maharaj. So now Indra made another mistake. So he took the garland and he put it on the elephant's head. Elephant didn't know what was this garland for. So he just picked up the garland and threw it on the ground and just trampled with his legs. Wow. big, big event that takes place. निशाम्य तत् सुरगण महेंद्र वरुणादया आद्य गच्छत् स्वयं मंत्रयन्तो विनिश्चितम् ततो ब्रह्म सभां जग्मुर्मेरोर्मूर्धनि सर्वशां सर्वं विज्ञापयां चक्रो प्रणतः परमेष्ठिने. Lord Indra, Varuna, and the other demigods, seeing their lives in such a state, consulted among themselves, but they could not find any solution. Then all the demigods assembled and went together to the peak of Sumeru mountain. There, in the assembly of Lord Brahma, they fell down to offer Lord Brahma their obeisances. And then they informed him of all the incidents that had taken place. So this, again, as we said, this is the beauty of demigods. They all are devotees. They're materialistic minded, but still they are devotees. So yes, make mistakes, but then they go to Brahmaji, and if Brahmaji doesn't have the solution, then they go further. Lord Vishnu, pay obeisances and take shelter. So now they have come to Brahmaji, and we'll stop here, and we'll take up the further whatever happens tomorrow. See, anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Prabhuji, regarding about cursing, counter cursing, all these were very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Your voice is very feeble. Can you speak up in the mic?
Yeah, one.
Prabhuji, why the Vaishnava Ekadashi, why is it usually one day after? As usual calendar date, the Ekadashi comes just usually let's suppose any date it comes, and then we see that the Vaishnava Ekadashi is just after one day.
Well, what happens is Vaishnavas don't observe if there is even a single minute of Dashmi in that Ekadashi day. It is considered not fit for the fasting.
Okay.
So if you look in the calendar, you will see if there is even a single moment of Dashmi, then they follow it next day.
So this is accurate, that means, right? Vaishnava Ekadashi, because they do not follow that Dashmi thing. Any moment which fall under Dashmi.
Yeah, but the other way the others calculate, for them it is okay. It's a Smarta Brahman system. So I'm not here so to say they are wrong, but just whatever we follow as Vaishnavas.
I was just trying to probably correlate it with the Vedic scriptures because a lot of Brahmins, uh, you call it that Panchang or something. So Panchang calendar, they follow it, and some permutation combination they put it and then say this is Ekadashi day and this from this time to this time. This is fall under. So
Yeah, the Panchang calculation is very nice, but now again, Vaishnavas follow this, that Dashmi should not be mixed in Ekadashi.
okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Moshmi Mataji, you were saying something.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I wanted to understand that in the previous yogas, there were too much of cursing, counter cursing, even by the great sages. So how to see those? I mean, they were so in a exalted position, but still, so if someone cannot control the anger, then only one curse. So That's what I wanted to
See,
understand.
all these sages, whether Agastya Rishi, Durvasa Muni, they are very, very highly exalted sages. So Krishna uses them for this cursing or whichever way, because some other pastime has to take place. So Durvasa Muni cursed. There are different reasons. Now Indra was puffed up, so his pride has to be smashed. And then Lord wanted to have this pastime of churning of the ocean of the milk. So they just make Durvasa Muni as an instrument. And of course,
Yes,
Durvasa
Prabhuji.
Muni also, when he curses like this, he loses some of his tapabal. So he has to perform more tapasya to gain back his tapabal. But this is in one way, this is their service to the Lord. Lord makes arrangements. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, understood. So in this Kali Yuga, the effect of cursing is not really very prominent, right?
Oh, we don't have any power. If
Yes,
somebody
Prabhuji.
like Prabhupada says something, then it might come true. But ours, nah, nothing. Don't worry. But it might have some effect. So we, as a devotee, so this is the point of devotee. Devotees never curse. And actually, I heard of one incident, not in the scriptures, like in Calcutta. I think during Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time or some other time, somewhere around there. So we know there are always problems with the Muslims. So in Calcutta, there were some devotees and the Muslims were giving them hard time. So these devotees got angry at Muslims. They got angry and they said, "We curse you." And these Muslim guys, they were scared. They said, "We curse you, you give up this nonsense, you become devotees, become Vaishnavas." That was a good curse, actually. But maybe they did not feel the same way. But devotees like, yeah, no, we cannot really curse for something with some bad intentions.
Yes, Prabhuji. So, yes, I was just trying to understand that what shall I understand from all these purports, like about the I saw that because of pride and anger, what had happened to even the Indradyumna king as well. So, how to, I mean, what is the take on points from all these chapters, like for us in this Kali Yuga?
Well, first is we are not supposed to curse anybody. And secondly, if somebody curses, then we just take it with folded hands. Okay, thank you very much. Because ultimately, it's we are trying to take shelter of the Lord, and He will protect. He will protect. He will take care of the devotees.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare-
Yes.
Prabhuji, don't we have these Vaishnava Aparadas as a form of curse only in this yuga? If we do some Vaishnava Aparada, then only we are cursed and as much as the punishment is there.
That is different. It's not like somebody is cursing us. We commit Vaishnava Aparad, then we will suffer.
As a curse also.
Suffering will be there, but it's not like somebody is saying, "Okay, I curse you, you commit Vaishnava Aparad." No, that's up to us. But there is a solution also. We just beg for forgiveness. every Vaishnava aparadh has a remedial measure also given. In the book by Mahanidhi Maharaj, The Art of Chanting, he has very nicely described all this. The remedial measures are there. And first thing that he says, for every Vaishnava aparadh, one should first of all repent in his heart. Yes, I have committed an offense. And then whatever offense he has committed, then he should do the remedy. Is that okay?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhuji, regarding Vaishnava aparadhs, Vaishnava is so pure by heart that even if they are offended by someone, they never curse because of their own humility and then pure nature. But Krishna never leave those, right? Krishna punished them. So we need to be also careful on that part because the Vaishnava may not curse that particular person, but Krishna will never leave because Vaishnavas are very favorite for Lord Krishna.
There is this saying, I think it's in Bhagavatam, I read it somewhere, that a person can tolerate if he's walking in the sun, if it is very sunny, very hot, and he's walking in the sun. So he can tolerate heat on his head, but he cannot tolerate on his foot. So the point is, even if somebody commits offense against Krishna, he can tolerate it, but not against his devotees. So just like I told the story of Chapal Gopal, so he developed leprosy because of committing that offense against Shrivas Thakur. Shrivas Thakur never cursed him. He never said anything. He didn't even have in his heart anything against Chapal Gopal, but Mahaprabhu did not let him go. So yes, if we commit Vaishnava aparadh, we will have to suffer. But the problem is, if we have committed, we have to realize that I have committed and then repent and then ask for forgiveness. The problem is we don't realize we have committed. We think we try to justify it. And we do commit. We do commit every day. We commit Vaishnava aparadh. So that is one of the reasons we don't develop the taste for bhakti, the taste for Harinam, the taste for service as much as we should have because of the offenses.
Yes, truly. You correctly mentioned very nicely, Prabhuji. This is the one reason probably if I'm not developing the taste for the chanting, probably knowingly or unknowingly, I must have done any offenses against Vaishnavas. So that is what I need to be more careful on this aspect.
Yep, very, very careful we have to be.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
You're welcome. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Jai